Loving yourself first will create true and lasting love with other people. I mean, think about that. How could you feel good enough for someone else if you're not even good enough for yourself? And there's a lot of research that really is going to help you understand this. Research shows that in order to create better relationships, check this out, you don't change the person that you're dating. You have to change yourself. That's why the art of being yourself is going to require you to learn how to truly love yourself. It's almost as if loving yourself is the loudest love language there is. Research has found that in a romantic relationship, who you are has a much bigger effect than the match between you and somebody else. I'm going to say that again. Who you are has a much bigger effect than the match between you and your partner. I want you to listen to this study because it shows that the quality of your relationships will not change until you change. Now, this is based on an 8-year-long study that showed that people had the same dynamics in new partnerships as they had in past broken relationships. After the glow of the initial honeymoon dating phase had faded, same exact dynamics as the old broken relationships. Now, Dr. Matthew Johnson from the University of Alberta, who's a relationship researcher and lead author on the study, said this: although some relationship dynamics may change, you are still the same person. So you likely recreate many of the same patterns with the next partner. So here's what that research means for you. It doesn't matter if your partner is one of the best people in the world. If you're insecure, if you have a poor self-image, if you have a terrible relationship with yourself, if you have low self-worth, you're not going to be able to connect with that person. In fact, I bet you've had experiences in your past where you have dated somebody who's absolutely awesome and you're the one sabotaging things. That was me all through high school, college, and law school. I dated really great people, but here's the problem. I hated myself. And instead of learning how to love myself, you know what I did? I just kept changing the person that I was with. It was a great distraction in the beginning, but then ultimately, guess what happens when all the newness wears off? Hello, you're still there with your same broken relationship with yourself. And it wasn't until I started to change myself that I was able to create better relationships with other people. So if you're sitting there looking around on all the dating apps or looking around outside yourself for the validation and love that you need, you're looking in the wrong place. Based on the research and common sense, you got to look in the mirror. In fact, I mean it literally. I want you to start your day by looking in the mirror and doing something very specific to improve the relationship that you have with yourself. This is something that I'm going to teach you called the High Five Habit. I've written an entire international best-selling book about this, and it uses a field of research called neurobics, which is the fastest proven way to reprogram old thinking patterns. And let's face it, hating yourself, telling yourself you're not good enough, treating yourself like garbage, that is an old, outdated thinking pattern. We got to reboot your mind. We got to update the way that you talk to yourself and treat yourself. And so I'm going to teach you how to use a simple hand gesture with a brand new thought to reprogram the way that you look at yourself, that you treat yourself, and it's going to help you love yourself. This is called the High Five Habit. Now, my research team and I have now tested this free and simple habit with over 175,000 people who have tried it for 5 days, and the results are incredible. You are going to change how you feel about yourself, which is what the research says that you have to do. Love yourself first. And here's how you're going to practice it. Every single morning after you're done brushing your teeth, you're going to look yourself in the mirror and you're simply going to high five your own reflection in the mirror to send yourself in the day. I'm not kidding. I know it sounds ridiculous. It sounds cheesy, but every single morning, brush your teeth, put your toothbrush down, look yourself in the mirror, and then you're going to raise your hand and high five yourself. And here's what's crazy. You are going to feel the impact immediately. And after practicing this for 5 days, simply adding a high five in the mirror to yourself without saying a thing before you send yourself into the day. And after practicing it for 5 days in a row, It changes how you see yourself. One of the reasons why this works is this. A high five is what's called a neurobic exercise. And an aerobic exercise makes your brain snap into attention. It creates this kind of like brain fertilizer that makes your brain learn new habits faster. They are one of the easiest and most powerful ways to create new pathways and connections in your brain. And they have 3 specific parts. First of all, you take a routine activity like brushing your teeth in the morning and looking in the mirror, and you then pair it with something unexpected, like all of a sudden high-fiving yourself. You don't do that every morning. So your brain's not expecting that. And the third and final piece to this, based on the research, is it's paired with an emotion or thought that you'd like to feel. Now, here's where this habit gets super exciting. Let's think about a high five. What does a high five represent? A high five is a positive gesture that says, I love you, I support you, I see you, keep going. Your brain knows what a high five is. A high five is 1,000% positive programming. I mean, you have been giving other people high fives your entire life. You have been showing them the love. You've been celebrating them. And so when you high five yourself, it triggers celebratory and encouraging emotions to flood your body. The heightened aerobic state of high-fiving yourself creates new nerve connections in your brain that connect the action of high-fiving with the emotion of celebration. So every time you high-five yourself, you aim all that high-five goodness and positive programming right back at your own reflection. How freaking cool is that? I mean, you would high-five the person that you love in the morning, wouldn't you? So now you're doing it to yourself. And trust me when I tell you this. When you try this 5 mornings in a row, start your day with a high five in the mirror, you'll not only experience a boost in the moment, but over time, something awesome happens. This neurobic exercise rewires your mindset for more resilience, which is one of the most powerful benefits of a high five. I know, it sounds simple, but this cuts so deep. And you don't need to believe me. You just need to try it for 5 days and see what happens. I mean, what do you have to lose? If you now know based on the research that loving yourself first is the most important factor in you having loving relationships with other people, why wouldn't you try something for free? This works. It's grounded in science, and loving yourself first is how you create true and lasting love with other people in your life. Learn to love what is unique about you, because there is nothing authentic about constantly trying to fit in. I'm continuing to hit my teacup here. And here's what is scary about the times that we live in. Our friends on Bridgerton did not have to deal with social media. They just felt the fear of FOMO and the pressure to conform when they went into a ball. But for you and me, it is in our face on our phones with social media all day long. It is so easy to feel pressure to be just like everybody else, to wear the latest outfit, to follow the latest trend, to be drinking the right brand of whatever, to be wearing your hair a certain way. It's almost like we all are now running toward the same thing. I mean, even just take something as simple as an engagement ring. Why does everybody have to have a diamond? I mean, diamonds aren't the only gems that sparkle. Every gem does. That sparkle is your uniqueness. And it's everywhere. And a lot of times it's in the things that you don't appreciate about yourself. The way that you laugh, how you put everybody at ease, or the serious amount of time that you take when picking out your ice cream flavor. I mean, even the line behind you is now a mile long. You are taking it. This is my husband, Chris, by the way. He always does it. Can I have a sample of this? Can I have a sample of this? And I'm sitting there thinking, why are you having a sample when I know exactly what you're going to order? And then he ultimately orders black raspberry ice cream with chocolate chips. You know, and here's the thing. It used to drive me crazy, but now I love it about him. And honestly, when I think about it, that's the kind of unique thing about Christopher Robbins, because that's how he goes through everything in his life. In fact, I was just traveling with Chris and our son Oakley this weekend, and we were moving through an airport, and I kept turning to our son Oakley going, where is your father? Because Chris was nowhere to be seen. And Oakley would turn and be like, oh, you know him. He's just strolling around, taking it all in. Chris just moves at a different pace. Because here he is, I don't know where in the airport, and I'm already through security. I've gotten a coffee. I'm ready to board at the gate. Chris is probably still talking to the guy at the TSA, getting to know him, hearing about how his day was going. And I just love that about Chris. And so what is the thing about you that you've been hating on or you've been making yourself wrong? What if you could learn to love it? Your height, your freckles, or that you'd rather be the one listening and taking it all in and behind the scenes. You don't need to be the center of attention. What if you celebrated that? Or maybe you're the one who isn't willing to settle for somebody, who isn't willing to say, well, good enough is good enough for me, or a job that's kind of it pays the bills. No, celebrate the fact that you're always looking for more, just because there's something about that that makes you come alive. All that stuff is your sparkle. And here's the cool thing on focusing on what makes you unique. When you're not so focused on fitting in and being like everybody else, you don't feel so competitive. It's almost as if by recognizing what's unique about you, you start to see what's unique about everybody. And suddenly there's room for everybody. No comparison, no judgment, just admiration for everybody's sparkle all around. You're allowing space for your authenticity and for everybody else's authenticity without doing all that competitive crap that makes you feel superior in the moment, but keeps you feeling insecure and afraid of judgment, because if you're busy judging other people, you know that subconsciously they're doing that to you. Now, this not only is going to help you learn how to appreciate and love all the many facets that make up you, but it will also help you appreciate and love all the many facets that make up the people that you love. And instead of trying to change someone else, like I'm not going to speed Chris up through the airport. I'm not going to change his ice cream order or how he does it. It's not my job to turn him into somebody that he's not. You know what my job is in a relationship? It's to learn how to admire and love what is unique about somebody else. To give someone else the space to express what is unique about them. No comparison, no judgment, just admiration all around. Because when you remember that all gems sparkle, you'll also see more beauty than you ever could before. When you start putting yourself first, you are going to disappoint people, and that's okay. And if you start making decisions that put you first and that make you happier in your life, and someone else can't handle their own disappointment over it, that's their problem, not yours. And today, you and I are going to throw out that rule book on how to live life according to everyone else, because you will never, ever, ever live a life that you're meant to live if you're constantly worried about what other people are thinking.